You ever do valet for the school drop-off?
Every time.
You're a valet only guy?
Except for Fridays. Every other time it's valet only.
So you feel comfortable just pulling up, opening up the door, see ya.
Yes.
Do you think your kid's going to be scarred from this?
No, they don't want. River already wants nothing to do. Bye, River. Won't turn around.
I'm sorry.
River, it's your dad.
Valet. So somebody parks your car?
No. It's like you wait in this long line, and then you get to the front where all the hosts are,
Right.
and the door opens, and your kid jumps out and goes into school.
Yeah, we didn't do it any other way.
And I got to admit, I am committed this year. I'm a walker.
No way.
I'm parking. I got 3 boys. I'm parking. I'm walking. I'm interacting.
Wow.
I'm inspired.
I am
crazy.
saying hi to people left and right.
Man.
It's like being at church.
Yeah.
I'm just like, hey, what's up? Hey, how are you guys? I pretend like I know people. I throw them off.
So good.
And you could see in their face like, do we? I know.
Why?
Yeah.
Was he in our kids' class last year?
Yeah,
Right.
who's that? And then this is how aggressive I am right now. It's a new season. It's a new day, new beginnings. I get onto a bench. I bring all my boys in close to me. I go, look at my eyes. I go, let me tell you something. I love you more than life itself. You're gonna have an awesome day. Come here, look at me. Look at me. Crush it.
I love it.
I'm proud of you.
It's great.
Come here. Come on. Let's pray real fast. Oh, Dad. Come on. God bless these boys. Give me a hug. Make them give me a hug. They're getting ready to go. Back.
Oh, yeah.
On the cheek, buddy. And it's the fastest kiss you've ever seen in your
But
life.
Winston loves that.
Oh, he's just dying 1,000 deaths. The youngest, smoochy.
Oh, yeah.
The middle, down to smooch.
Is Clive in kindergarten or TK?
He's a kindergartner.
Yeah.
Kindergartner.
Gotcha.
These guys, this is a true story. This is a funny one. Yesterday, we're in the car. We had the day off. Yom Kippur, shout out.
Shout out.
Great day. Okay? So we go out to breakfast as a family. What a treat.
Yeah.
On a Monday morning,
Yeah.
no school, going out to breakfast.
Party.
So we're on the way home, and one of the boys says, Dad, how did you meet Mom? When did you meet Mom? So I'm trying to explain to them, we grew up our whole lives. So they understand this concept. We grew up our whole lives. No, but when did you meet her? So son, again, I want to emphasize this. It has actually been my whole life. But when did you meet her? Okay, so I'm going to have to just go around this one a little bit. So finally I start telling the story about, I moved here when I was 18 and Julia, she was 15. And then I didn't come to our families get together for Thanksgiving. I didn't see her for a long time. And then we got back together at a Thanksgiving dinner. And then I took her to a date at the Space Needle. And all these things. And then I fell in love with her. And they're like, oh, they're going crazy, right? And then I gave her a smoochy kiss. And they're like, oh.
Smoochy kiss.
And they're just in heaven. Listen to this. And Julia is she's loving it, right? So she says to Mav, who is the heartthrob of the group, Mav, what kind of a girl do you want to marry? And without missing a beat, he goes, someone that's hot and kind.
Not real.
He's 8 years old. Tomorrow, or in 2 days, he'll turn 8.
He's a man who knows what he wants.
Without even, what kind of girl do you want to marry, Mav? Oh, someone that's hot and kind. I'm sorry, hot physically, hot spirit, like what?
That is digging me out.
And kind? Like, dude, you're supposed to play with Legos.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
So I'm going to keep walking these guys to school because if I just drop them off, who knows where this kid goes in life.
My son always looks for your sons when he gets dropped off.
Yeah.
He's looking. And the other day, I said, River, what was your high of the day? He said, my high of the day was that Winston was my reading partner.
They're reading partners.
That's
Yep.
so
The fourth
cool.
graders and the
First
first graders are reading partners. And Winston, is that pretty cool?
That's so cool.
Life is great. Let's get into it.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Leadership Lean In, and we're so glad that you can join us. This episode is brought to you by Overflow. Head on over to overflow.co to find a new experience in giving and receiving funds. I love what they phrase this term, frictionless giving, and that's what Overflow does. And they create an opportunity for you to receive funds for fundraisers, for donations, They've reimagined philanthropy. In the past, you may be able to give one way or two ways. This opens up a whole world of giving, from crypto to NFTs to stocks to cash, all sorts of different ways to do it. And here's a few things that I really appreciate. It's quick and easy to use. They have a really secure platform. They have expert support. I'm telling you, their support is out of this world. If you need a call, an email, they're there for you. And there's transparency at every step. You're never going to wonder what your financial position is with them. They will be transparent with you the entire time. So head over to overflow.co to book a demo right now.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Leadership Lean In. Lean back. Do the rock away. Lean back.
April still doesn't know that reference.
I should probably listen to that song just so I can understand the reference.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay, great.
I just can't stand another moment of this. Lean back. This is Fat Joe. Is Fat Joe doing Lean back?
Yep.
Lean back.
They just don't make music like they did in the early 2000s.
Let's just try it real fast.
Every
Lean
generation
back.
says that.
Yeah.
Lean back.
Careful, though.
No, it's edited. I got you.
Okay.
Hey.
We've never played a song before at Leadership Leaning. Let's go. This is all for April.
You've never heard this?
Nope.
This is one of the best beats you've ever imagined in your life. Hold on. Oh.
We can.
Watch.
Okay, I'm listening.
Lean back. Lean in. Lean in. Lean in.
I liked it.
I mean,
New
was
intro.
that fun?
Yeah, that was really fun.
Maybe we can write our own little lean in. Lean in.
Yeah,
maybe.
Do the leadership.
Yeah.
Lean in.
We could.
That's an option for us.
Welcome back to it's getting wacky. Welcome back to another episode. Thank you everybody that likes, subscribes, comments. But let me address one quick comment here. Gangster Rap 235 on YouTube or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Pretty close, yeah.
Try to come at April's head. April, what did the man say?
Well, he said, why don't you mention your co-hosts in the intro?
And why
Or in the description.
don't you?
It's because I write them.
Yeah, how come you don't mention yourself?
I feel like, you've put so much preparation into this. You're bringing the teaching. We're here to support.
Get out of here. They get at every comment, and I hope that one helps. T-Boz, T-Bone 458, and everybody that's out there. We love you. Thank you for leaning in with us. We are students. I think that's just part of it, right? Just the desire to learn, the hunger to get better, the quest to constantly keep notes and write stuff down and collect good thoughts. I'm always writing stuff down. You're with the leader when they're like, you're at dinner or you're at something. You're like, hold on, can I just write that down real fast? I feel like I'm constantly doing that. Gosh, that's so good. Hold on.
Yes.
You know what I do more than anything? I text myself TikToks.
Oh.
You text yourself.
Oh gosh, do I ever?
Text yourself TikTok.
I text myself constant educational TikToks.
Why do you text yourself?
Do you just save it?
I'm going to play you one right now.
Why don't you just save it on the app? We're going to revolutionize
Hold on.
There's a little save button.
I'm 43. There's a save button on TikTok. I say I don't need.
But you know what? You do have to click the 3 dots. So
No,
that
you don't.
You don't?
No.
Okay,
I'll put you guys on after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me just play one for you right now. I heard this last night, and I go, I'm using it. I don't know when, but this is a great thought. Listen to this one.
You didn't earn Tom's trust.
Okay, this is Jimmy.
You had to continually
Okay, come on.
earn Tom's trust.
Come on.
And he was big.
Come on. That's not what I clicked.
See?
Here we go.
Here's the thing. People who can't communicate think that everything is an argument. And people who lack accountability and self-awareness think everything is an attack.
Wow.
Those aren't my words. I came across them as a quote. It's not credited to anybody. If you know who said them, please pop it in the comments because I want to thank them for that gem today. Here's the thing. People who can't communicate think that everything is an argument, and people who lack accountability and self-awareness think everything is an attack.
Ooh, that's bars.
Bars.
I saw that one. I go, using it.
I love it.
Like just collecting stuff.
Yes.
Constantly collecting things. What's the old thought? A comedian always has a fresh idea in his pocket.
Yep.
You know, from a biblical standpoint for us as preachers, it's like you got to preach the word in season, be ready in season,
right.
out season. Always got something fresh in your pocket. So to me, leaders are, it's so funny today with the boys on the way to school, I tell them each 3 things I love about them.
I love that.
That's
And
great.
so today I was saying to Maverick, his second thing was, I love what a reader you are. You're such a reader. I go, you know what a leader is? A leader's a reader. Leaders are, I go, what are they boys? Leaders are what? Readers. You know, it's like they just, I just believe in
Yeah,
that. I just
that's
like
right.
constantly
true.
learning. And so thank you to every person on the podcast that's addicted to getting better and learning and improving. We appreciate you. Okay, let's jump in. Today we are talking about carry the culture, police the culture. And I want to convince you that there is nothing more important than the culture. Culture trumps vision and strategy for breakfast. Culture is the main thing. Culture is the thing that, culture is not what we say, culture is what we do. And we know this about life. Actions speak louder than words. So I've always believed about culture that culture is very spoken and unspoken. So culture is the thing that I say we're about, and culture is the thing that we are actually about. And there's always a gap between what's on the walls or the website or what's in the handbook and what's in my heart. So I'm trying to always, even for our culture, learn our culture, receive our culture, improve our culture. Culture doesn't just happen, it's policed. So I think that to be a great leader in whatever sphere, whatever organization or whatever thing you're leading, you need to carry the culture of your franchise, group, church, whatever it is that you lead. Carry it. I'm a culture carrier. And to me, as someone that leads a community, there's nothing that thrills me more than being able to see somebody that's like, whoa, they really carry our culture. Like everything that we're about, which you could break culture into 3 things. I think culture, a lot of culture is vision, values, and standards.
Yep.
This is the vision of our place, our vision of our team. Here's the values that we have. We're all going to play by these rules here, and these are the standards that we uphold. And I think mission is somewhere baked in there as well. But culture is, to me, the most important thing that you should work on, because culture will set you up. It's the make or break.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Strong culture. Like it was so cool. I think it was last year we had a guy, Steven Chandler.
Yeah.
He came and he paid our group a high compliment. He said, I've never been to a place that has a stronger culture.
Wow.
And I think that's a compliment. It's like, you know, I'm fascinated by college football. We're watching right now the rise of prime time, Coach Prime. It's still in the rise. I'm not going to give one loss to Oregon and say he's on the downfall.
Okay.
We'll see what happens the next few weeks. But a man that's come in and brought with him, he called it his Louis Vuitton luggage. It's not just the players that he's bringing in. It's the culture.
That's right.
It's the winning mindset. It's
Right.
an attitude. It's accountability. It's work ethic. It's a spirit. And I think it's the culture that has sold all those tickets.
That's right.
It's the culture that moves that many units of merchandise. So people aren't buying into Prime as much as the culture he's creating. And I think that's great leadership, is that you need to be able to, first of all, create it and then empower. So much of leadership is not what you can do. It's how well you can empower.
That's right.
Yep.
And empowerment is here. Here's the culture that I am, and I believe in you enough to empower you carry this vision with me. Let's all carry these values together. Let's all uphold these standards together. Let's all live out this mission together. And so the more people you can do this. This is why I really believe this about whatever you lead. You don't need like 5 to 10 heroes around you. You need a couple hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
The way you get a couple hundred heroes is you get a couple hundred culture carriers. They're like, hey, vision, great. Strategy, we're going to get to it. But as long as the culture is strong and the culture is like, this is who we are. It's so funny. I had a friend over last night till really late, and we were laughing at this. I said, bro, you were there with me when I preached at the worst church I've ever preached at in the history of my life. And we were just dying laughing. It happened in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Probably about 11, 12 years ago. And I was preaching at this conference in Canton, Ohio. Shout out to Faith Family.
Mm-hmm.
And the great Noah Nickel and Jordan Smucker. And you've been here with me. The first night I met Rich, you were there with me in Canton, Ohio. And so I preached, and then they sent me to go preach at a church on Sunday morning.
Oh, no.
It was the worst church I've ever been to.
Oh, no.
And in the culture of this church, all the men were like bikers, like they had biker vests. And the worship was like rock. And they had a real, in the culture of this church, like people would come to the front and get prayed for and fall out.
Yep.
So you had all, think Sons of Anarchy
Yes.
with an altar.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
That's
my
exactly,
gosh.
Not like younger, cooler
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy, like the dad.
The dad and the mom.
Yeah, Gemma, like old. And people weren't just falling over. It felt evil. It felt spooky. It felt like cultish. It was the only church I've ever been in where I legit refused to preach a second service. I was like, I'm not getting up there again. In fact, we left. I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever been to.
Wow.
And so I was scared. I found out what this church was about just by being around it, the culture of what it emphasized, what it was about. It's unspoken. No one ever said, "Hey, to come here, you got to come to the front, and you're gonna fall out." It just became a part of who we were, and I think who they were. I said we. I ain't in the we, but I think we have to set the intention of what the culture is going to be about. What are our values? What are we for and what are we against? And what are we going to emphasize and what are we going to make sure we stay away from? And I think, remember in leadership, if you're not deliberate, you'll be default.
Yeah.
So if I'm not intentional, I always fall back to what's comfortable, convenient, and familiar.
Yep.
So because we've always done this and we've always allowed this and I'm actually setting my intention that we're going to be about this and we're going to go for this result. We're going to go for this kind of character, this kind of value, this kind of intention. I think this is so important. So number one, I need people that can carry the culture. And this is another layer of leadership that I think is so important. And I also, in addition, I also need people that can police the culture.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
completely different than carrying it. Carrying it is like, I am a part of this eco, and I'm happy to have this shared vision and values and standards. Policing it is going, I don't just carry, I also police. And police is that thing to me, is the commitment to protect.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the commitment to make sure people are safe, to make sure that if anybody's outside of the culture, that we're like, hey, the reason why this culture is strong is because of this thing called accountability.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think we need to remember as leaders that people want more accountability than you think.
Yeah.
People, they don't want to just float and exist and morph or decay. They want to know what's the standard. They want to be held to the standard that you said. It might sound cliche, but I really believe it's true still. Inspect what you expect. Inspect your expectations. People will actually respect that. And the more that you do that, the more you're like, hey, I said this is the expectation. I said this is the culture. This is what we're going to be about. And you fell short of that. This is not personal. I'm not mad at you, but we got it. This is what we're about. The more you do that, I think people rise to that.
I agree. I think there's something about being held accountable that adds to two things. Number one, your perception of value. Someone's only going to keep you accountable if they see value in you.
That's right.
It's good.
So there's that. But there's also, when you're held accountable, you're reminded there's a purpose and there's a vision.
Yep.
And this isn't for nothing. I'm being held accountable because there's a culture here that is pointing towards something that's bigger than me.
That's exactly
That's
right.
good. I think there's also a value. There's a way to learn how to police the culture. You don't just go around tattletaling. Nate probably is laughing internally because I think I can over police, and I can be a bit of a tattletale.
Are you? You
I'm
have
kind
a
of a
little,
snitch.
Are you hall monitor vibes?
Yeah.
I did not know this.
Oh yeah.
You know what happened to people that snitch?
Snitches got stitches.
Do you have any stitches right now?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Just traumas.
I'm talking about figuratively. Do you have any? Not literally.
Well, yes, obviously. No, but I've definitely had to learn.
Yeah.
There's a right way to police the culture.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the first thing to obviously do is to carry it, and you're the model, you're the example. And I think that's just always strong, confident leadership.
Yep.
To use a verse, follow me as I follow Christ. I think that's strength right there. I'm going to set the bar. You're going to be good to follow.
Right.
And you're not a leader if you're not followable.
Yep.
If you can't reproduce who you are and be proud of it, you're not followable.
Absolutely.
So the first thing I do is I carry it.
Yep.
Second thing I do is I police it. And finding the policing part and the suave oil, kindness. It's like they joke about great bosses. I went into his office and he corrected me and I left feeling like $1 million.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you make people feel like they're winning when they're losing? That is, to me, great. I think carrying the culture is like, I'm floating. I just want to carry. I just want to be. I want to exist. I want to look at me. I'm fine. I'm good. I've got it all figured out. But that's only one half of the coin.
Yep.
The other half is going like, I love you enough to confront what's wrong.
Yep.
I love you enough to come on. You already know that was a crazy text.
Yep.
Hey, dude, you're not sick. Why are you taking that sick day? Hey, come on. Like, you haven't replied to an email in like 3-4 days. Like, come on,
Yeah.
I think it's ultimately it's serving, because love is choosing what's best for the other person. I don't love you if I don't help you.
Yeah.
And I'm serving you. I'm developing you. I'm being a good teammate or a good boss if I engage you. My son this morning was kind of having a toot and having a moment, and I was telling him in the car on the way to school, son, I'm always going to engage you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not going to turn my cheek and just ignore your behavior. I'm not going to put my head in the sand and ignore like you're not violating our values of our house.
Yep.
I'm going to engage you. And I think so that's so much of leadership to me, is just being engaged.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Not being distracted, not being on my phone, not pretending like I didn't hear that or didn't see that. I think what happens is if we don't address things when they're small, they will develop into something that's big. And so don't turn a mountain into a molehill. Well, let's flip that. Don't let a molehill turn into a mountain.
Right.
How do you nip that in the bud? I address things in real time, and I don't let a month or 2 or 6 go by.
Yep.
I address it in the proper timeline. I think that's really important.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break here in the middle of Leadership Lean In to talk about one of our sponsors, AG1.
Absolutely. We love AG1. Nate, you have taken AG1. You got me introduced to AG1, and it tastes like bubblegum.
It does. It's green, but it tastes like bubblegum. I'm not gonna lie, I actually enjoy the flavor of it. I didn't think that I would enjoy something that is so healthy for me.
So good for you. It's a great supplement. It's so easy to use. You can put it in your yogurt and your oatmeal, whatever. It's a one-stop shop for the nutrients that you need to focus today, in your day, have energy. It's honestly great. You should take AG1, plus we've got a deal for you. And I just want to make sure I read this right, which is, if you want to take ownership of your health, try AG1 and you can get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/LLI. That's drinkag1.com/LLI. Check it out.
I want to give you a few things to write down today, something that you got to decide. What's big in your culture? What's big in your culture? Like, what I think when it comes to culture is you gotta go, what sword am I willing to die on? What is it for me that's like, these are non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta have this. I put down a few for me: honor, excellence, generosity, faith, and servitude. Those to me are like such massive culture builders that if somebody's with us and someone's on our team, like, excellence factor, get out of town. Like, what's better than having somebody that's excellent? What's better than having generous people that go over and above? What's better than faith? For me, it's the belief factor in, first of all, I believing in a really big, awesome, benevolent, good God, and believing in the team. If you lose belief on the team, we're out.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yep.
It's what happened. You know, think about the Seahawks. We'll go back to the Seahawks. We've been talking about Pete Carroll last couple episodes.
Yeah.
Okay. What they throw a interception on the 1 yard line. Okay.
Yep.
All that roster could have come back the next year.
100%.
Same talent.
Yep.
But the one thing that they lost is the one thing that you have to have is they lost belief in the coaches.
Winning culture. Yep.
They lost belief in the play caller. They lost belief in the head coach. And if you lose belief, you can't be on the team. You actually have to go.
Yep.
Even though I love you, even though we've had great memories, even though like, hey, we'll be friends forever and we can laugh about those seasons. As soon as you stop believing in me, you can't be here.
That's right.
As soon as you stop believing in us, you got to go. And let me say this to any leader. If you don't believe in what you're doing, get out.
It's not worth it.
Right.
If you don't believe in who you're building with, get out. It's not. It all starts and stems out of belief.
Yep.
This confidence of like, dude, put us up against anybody, anywhere. We're going to win this game. You got to have servitude. And this is something that's big in culture because I think we're going to talk about it in a second, but if you don't have serving in your culture, what happens is you just develop a bunch of prima donnas. A bunch of entitled people. There's like, it's all about me, what I can get, my little ego, my little world, my little ego, it's all about me. You develop me monsters. I think we have to know what we're about in our culture. And when you set culture and set intention, anything that tries to kill it gets exposed real fast.
Yeah.
I think the servitude thing is really hard in this generation too. Excuse me. With Gen Z, I know that Gen Z is very aware of a lot of we're just putting names to a lot of things.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is setting a lot of hard boundaries. And so there's a little bit of that entitlement in this generation and I'm saying that as part of the generation and having experienced these pressures of the culture right now of society, which is, it, like you said, it's all about me. It's all about what I can do, what I can give, like learn how to say no, which are all valuable things in context and in a healthy way. And I think that I've seen that is that people have started to take that a little too, they're sacrificing servitude for I'm protecting myself.
And have you had to snitch on them?
Well, you know, the problem with your generation. No, I think it's so real with the rise of technology, with the rise of, you know, I don't know if you've seen this website Red Door. It publicly puts out every company's salary ratings, and so everyone knows everyone's compensation. Everyone knows everyone's everything, and so now you have empowered young people or you know, people who are older, who have degrees, but they have no experience. Yeah. So we want this level of compensation without putting in any of this servitude. Yeah. And it just doesn't work like that. Yeah. Servitude is, you know, and it's not just a church thing. You want your business to explode. Yeah. You serve each other. It'll set you apart. How much more efficient will you be if there's not backbiting, if there's not infighting, if there's not, you know, you just serve each other, the whole thing flies. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the reason why you set intention of culture is like at the end of the day, you're going to get what you go for. Mm-hmm. And if you go for having culture of honor, serving, blah, 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 fill in the blank, whatever your culture is, you're going to get that. Because I really think that like if you can see it, you can have it. Yeah. And that's part of being a leader is seeing what nobody else can see yet. Believing what others cannot even believe in yet themselves, and saying, I see this this community this way, this team operating this way. We're going to be humming. We're going to be cohesive. We're going to be efficient. We're going to be effective. Okay, if I want all that, what do I have to set as the culture of a working environment for the team dynamic? Okay, because if I want all that, it's going to cost me. Yeah. Yep. And I have to set that, carry that as the culture, but I got to police it if anything gets off of what we have all said, this is where we're going and what we're about. I think you got to be careful of culture killers. I wrote a few culture killers down. You got to be careful from gossip, bad attitudes, offense, entitlement, laziness, self-preservation, no accountability. These are the culture killers. It's like, and all of these start small.
Yeah.
There's a verse I've always loved. Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes. That little molehill.
Yep.
That little, it's always some little, this is why I think there's power in comments. I know we shouted out Rapmaster Flex 42.8 earlier in the pod. But I think, do you know how much power is in a comment?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's tremendous.
Hey, man, you made this comment. You said, tell me more about that. Little.
Yep.
Little attitude. Little roll of the eyes. Little no text back. Little entitlement. Little stuff. Little offense. It's like, oh, man. I think we have to be careful because I think I've been around some leaders that are so dang petty. It's usually just small.
Yep.
To be a leader means you're living with a big soul, big world. I'm not so thrown off. I'm not so every whim, every comment, every little crease. No, I've got a big soul and live in a big world, and I got a big life, and I'm trying to do my best to stay small in my own eyes, of course, but I want to do something big. So there's that tension of like, man, how do I navigate? Because I want people to carry the culture, and I got to police the culture. So here's the tension in leadership: what do I address, and when do I address it? Mm-hmm. How have you had to deal with that when you go like, what is it? What could get me to address something, and when the time? Because life is timing, leadership's timing, and I have from failure waited too long.
Yeah. I think in parenthood, this is the conversation every day.
Yeah.
My son does something that is out of our values, and I have to go, is this because I gave him too much sugar and he's
Or he went to
lacking
bed.
sleep? Yeah. Am I the reason why he's acting like this?
Right.
If so, I think maybe I need to address something in myself before, so then I can come with a real solution to the problem. You
Right.
know? And then there's other times where it's like, right now, I need to pull you aside, and we got to have this conversation because you're actually putting the environment at jeopardy that you're in.
Yes.
And if that's the case, I think that's the time.
Yep.
If you're going to put yourself into an unsafe, unhealthy position, I got to pull you aside and police it.
That's right.
Or you put other people in that position.
That's right. Yeah, I think this is what I love about, I think discernment is so underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I think to be a great leader, you have to have crazy discernment and just be able to go like, I don't know why something's telling me I got to text them. I need to get a copy.
Yeah,
of them.
yeah.
Right.
I got to meet with them today. I got these windows of opportunity that are closing.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, if I don't address this issue with this person, the window's going to close. And if I'm going to try and circle back on this in 3 months, I'm going to look like an idiot.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like, I got to find what you need to define this in your leadership. What am I willing to address? Like what thing?
Yeah.
I had this, it's small, but I had this guy that I love on, this past Sunday, just did a couple of weird things, just a little bit off. And it's like, how long until I address? Right then. Just because I love them and I'm for them and I'm with them. And man, the apology and the sweetness and the tenderness and the, I'm so sorry, that's not who I want to be. It's like, but I got to police at the same time that I carry. Because if I let that stuff go, I think that sometimes we wake up one day and we're like, how did this get into my culture?
Yeah.
Homie,
Yep.
that happened 3 years ago. And you allowed this gossip, you allowed this entitlement, you allowed this, spending or whatever it is, or this person to come in late, or this person to miss rehearsal, or you created this monster.
Yeah.
You're so culpable in this.
Yeah.
I think that, going back to parenting has so much leadership in it, but it's like with our kids, I want to raise kids that it's like, I'm proud of who he developed, not embarrassed.
Yeah.
There's so much proverb about that. You know, a
Right,
fool
right.
brings shame to his father. It's like, oh, I raised up that kid. It's like same thing in your leadership. It's like when things go, by the way, this is leadership. When things go wrong, we only got one person to blame.
That's right.
And when things go right, we're going to thank the team, not you.
Yeah, that's
But
it.
if it goes wrong, I'm telling you, Sean Payton threw up a donut against the Miami Dolphins. They're lucky they didn't set an NFL record and kick a field goal. They're lucky they rolled over the last 8 minutes, scores, put up a 70 spot. Are you kidding me? We're not blaming Russell Wilson at this point. We're not blaming the defense at this point or the special teams.
Right.
Homie, you took this job and you made fun of Nathaniel Hackett, the guy that you followed. So something's off here, homie, and let's just be honest, it's you. That's leadership. So we got to go back to the drawing board and address some things in our culture. What are our values on tackling? What are our values on drills? What are our values on sleep? We got to go back and look at our culture. Something's wrong in the culture.
That's right.
And so I think for you in what you're leading, let me convince you to control the main thing, and that is the vision, values, and standards. And so first of all, let's define what is the culture you're willing and desiring to carry. And then to the best of your ability, create and communicate a clear boundary. This is who we are, and anything outside of that is who we're not. So this is our vision, value, standard. We're going to live within this, the Bible, truth, values, character. This is us. If you step out of that, that's not us. So I police anything that's out of that. But in here is where we flourish.
Yep.
And I think that becomes easy because then the culture becomes the bad guy, not me.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because otherwise then it's I think so many leaders get themselves in trouble because they're leading off preference and personality.
Yeah.
I prefer this. This is my personality and my preference and that's where I get myself into trouble so much. It's like I've got so many little preferences and personality quirks. And if I can just stay here, everything will go great.
Yeah.
If I can just stay right here, I know I can build really, really strong. But if you got too much personality and preference, all of a sudden now it's personal rather than the culture.
Yeah. I remember you said something about our organization. You said, I don't want to give us a mission statement. I want to give us core values for 5 years. And I remember you said something along the lines of, they should be descriptions of who we are, not prescriptions of who we should be.
That's exactly right.
And so
good.
we're going to take 5 years. We're going to create our culture. We're going to really police this thing. And there's like a turning point in culture where it's like, now the culture protects itself and reproduces itself.
Yeah.
That's right.
In any subculture, and it gets eaten up.
Squash.
Yeah.
And then it grows and it gets bigger. But I love that idea of it takes time, it takes intentionality.
That's right.
Don't, this idea, it's going to be the thing that it's a description, and what is the description of your culture? It's probably not where you want it to be.
No.
That takes time. It takes about 5 years.
Yeah. It takes a lot of intentionality and a lot of follow up and a lot of follow through and a lot of hard work and a lot of I think that we were very naive to think, I just got to carry it and exemplify it. No. No. The other side is you got to police it.
Yeah. And then it's like, especially when you're starting my culture, I want it to look like that culture.
Yeah, that's it.
And it will never work in someone else's house like it will in yours. So figuring that out.
It's really
exactly
good.
right.
It's really
I'm
good.
going to take that piece, but I'm now going to make it ours, and that takes time. And
Takes time to digest it. And I think the other thing about culture is, like, let's be honest, you got a lot of bad culture floating through you.
Amen.
And
Still.
there's a lot of culture you got to get out.
Right.
And so I'll never forget when we first wanted to come to Los Angeles to start the church, I really felt like I needed to go sit at City Church for a couple of years because I so admired and appreciated and esteemed their culture.
Right.
I wanted to just go sit in that soil and through osmosis become more like that.
So
Right.
And because it's slow, culture is a slow burn. It's a slow learn. It's a digesting. It's a receiving. It's becoming. And none of us become quick.
Yeah. Right.
So we're not even in a hurry with culture. I think it's just very futile and immature to be like, this is our culture.
Yeah.
To your point, what you're saying, it's like I got that from Louis Giglio when he started Passion. He said we're not going to put values up for 5 years,
Love that.
and I think that's very smart. And I want to encourage you, leader, go back to the drawing board. Does your organization look like what's in your heart? Because if it doesn't, we got to police.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't need a clear picture of your culture. Maybe you need to empower some people to help you police the culture. Now, thank God for every person that you got with you that can, thank God for the carriers. But I want to double honor the police watch. You know, like you go to a neighborhood and it's got neighborhood protection,
Yeah. Neighborhood watch.
neighborhood watch.
Yeah.
You feel very vulnerable and afraid when it's just you policing everything.
Yeah.
But when you got some watchdogs,
You're like, all right.
it's like you ain't messing around here. You're not coming around here. You're not peeing on our lawn. You're not. You get your little.
We're talking
doggy
about dogs. We're talking about dogs.
I'm like, wait a minute.
You better get your little green bag and pick up your dog's poop. You're not coming around here like
It's
that.
real.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
Totally.
hey, and we have dealt with the weirdest things,
Yeah. Come on.
the most bizarre things. Thank God for the ones that are like, I'm going to meet with them. I'm getting a coffee with them. I'm going over to their house. I'm getting on the phone with so-and-so. Because, man, I'm telling you, if you just let anything and everything happen, you're going to create a hodgepodge collection of God knows what.
Yeah.
People will walk into your atmosphere like we walked into Columbus, Ohio, and go, what the heck is this? I think where great leadership is, there's so much peace. There's so much clarity.
Safety.
There's so much safety is a great word. There's so much unity. There's so much vision. There's so much excitement. That's not because people are just floating around carrying the culture. They're batting off some idiotic tendencies and some weird behaviors and attitudes and just helping people go like, hey, this is what we're about. If you don't want to be about it, homie, you don't have to do anything. We love you no matter what. But just so you know, around here, we've all agreed this is how we're going to roll.
Yep.
And so, if you don't want to have that many meetings and you want less meetings, you should not be here.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to be about others. You want to just be about your name. This is going to be a tough place for you.
Yep.
You want to build your own little kingdom within our kingdom. Come on, man, this is not going to work out for you. So I can't just carry. I also have to police. And that to me is great leadership. We love you. We're for you. Build that culture.